Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, I am OverHugs, and I would like to welcome you back to Building Bread, as we run into magma cubes. That was not planned. Today on Building Bread, we're going to do something different. Totally different from what we said last episode. It is absolutely not exactly what we said last episode. It's what we said last episode. Today, we're going to go to a guardian farm. And I've found this off camera and hooked up a portal to it because you've seen me make portals many, many times so far. So there's really no need to do it. And this is a guardian farm. A guardian farm is a structure that exists within the ocean. It was generated as part of the aquatic update. And it has these mobs, which are called guardians. And they will spit laser eye bubble things at you and try and hit you, which does a decent amount of damage, if you see, when it hits. Ow. Let's not be here. So why would you want to deal with fish that want to shoot you in the face with bubble laser beams? Well, when you kill them, they drop things that can make sea lanterns and prismarine and dark prismarine. And these are some of my favorite blocks in the game. It is generally a lot of work to get these, but what we're going to do today is show you the easy way to do it. Normally, what I've seen a lot of people do is go in here and set up a conduit so they can have water breathing and put in all these resistance and have a beacon, and we're not doing any of that. We are going to work smarter, not harder, and we're going to do it with potions. So I've gone and I've brewed up a bunch of potions to prepare for this episode. We have a potion of water breathing. We have a potion of night vision. We have a potion of invisibility. And basically what we can do is we can take off almost all of our gear and chug these potions and say, first off, let's do night vision because we want to have at least a little warning that we're running out of our other potions. And then we do invisibility, and then we do water breathing. And then we do water breathing. Thank you. And now, because we're not wearing any gear, or we're only wearing one piece of gear, the Guardians can't see us anymore. Now, this would normally be, oh, well, this is super easy. Now nothing can see us, and we can just wander around and take out our pickaxe and dig into the temple and plunder all its loot super fast before anybody even knows we're here. You'd think that, but as we go up here and we knock our way in, you will see one of the other things that this temple contains, which is called an Elder Guardian. And any minute now, the Elder Guardian is going to hit us with a debuff that is called Mining Fatigue. And Mining Fatigue, and there it is, makes it so that we can't really mine blocks anymore for 5 minutes. This is unfortunate. And they will continue to hit you with mining fatigue as long as you are in this area. But we have a cheese for that too. Did I say cheese? I meant creative mechanic. So since we're invisible, this guy can't see us. And we can just whack, 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 whack. This is easy. And there you go. Now the Elder Guardian is dead. And the Elder Guardians will always drop a sponge. And this is one of the things that we're here for. Sponges, prismarine shards, and prismarine crystals. These are the things that will let us make these bricks, which are prismarine and prismarine blocks. This is dark prismarine, which again is one of my favorite blocks to build with in this game. It's just lovely. Somewhere in here, and we'll find it afterwards, is also a room which is called the Sponge Room. But more on that later. These are sea lanterns, if you haven't seen it before. They're a light source that works underwater, and also it has that nice little glowing effect, if you can see it through the YouTube compression, where it just radiates out. It's just a really nice block. It goes well with a couple of different builds that we're going to do relatively soon. So let's go back out, and I'll show you how we can get to the remainder of this, even though we can't dig through the bricks. Now, the way that this works is the Elder Guardians themselves are generally in 3 places. One is at the top, one is down here in the arm, and the other one is down on the opposite side. So, because we're prepared, but we can't knock through, what we can do is use TNT. So if you take TNT and you surround it with blocks, and then you throw a piece of redstone on the top to activate it, this will blow your way into as such. And remember that blocks are always dropped by TNT as of a few updates ago, so make sure to get back the stuff that you used. So let's get in here, and we see many guardians and an elder guardian. So that worked out well. So let's just take you out. Nice and easy. Where no one can see us, because invisibility is wonderful. Creative game mechanics. So that's 2. Generally, there are 3 Elder Guardians in every temple. So let's find our little hole, that we blew through with TNT, and get out of here. So, once again, TNT. Surround it with blocks. Drop redstone on top to light it, and get out of the way. And boom. Now let's see. And we are super lucky. There's the 3rd one right there. So, once again, lather, rinse, repeat. Now, you could go through and try and do this the difficult way, but we've just defeated this temple in 4 minutes. This would normally take us much longer than that. And since we're still on our first set of potions, let's see if we can find either the sponge room or the treasure room, which are 2 things that you get from all these temples. It is possible to have more than one sponge room. I have not seen it myself, but I do know people who have, and I've seen videos of people who have found them. And 3, 2, 1, there we go. No more mining fatigue. So now we can just cut through like we could normally and go to other parts, and here we go. First try. This is a sponge room, and sponges have the ability of removing water in an area around where they're placed, and then they become wet like this one is. So this is really necessary for a decent amount of farms. If you were really eagle-eyed, you would have noticed we used some sponges to clear out the area when we were clearing for our mega build that we started last episode. Basically, I went into a different temple and just harvested the sponge room because I needed it and I knew I would need it. So, but this one was untouched before now. So we're going to explore and try and here's the treasure room. It's like I've almost planned this. So anytime that you see a big dark prismarine cube like this, this is the treasure room. And if we come in here, we will see some blocks of gold. And this is very handy for us because we definitely need some gold in order to trade with piglins as part of the 1.16 update. So we have some, but we can always use more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, so 8 blocks of gold. And then we'll refresh our potions because as you see by that flickering, that means we're just about to run out and then we would start to drown. So we'll just take one of each and fully refresh, and that will be plenty of time. And you could hear that when our invisibility ran out, they could see us, and the Guardians were trying to shoot at us again. But we refreshed our invisibility, and all is well. So I'm going to take a quick tour in here and see if I can see any more sponge rooms or anything else that's unusual. And if I do, I will come back. Alright, I dug through a lot of this temple, and I did not find anything else. And we're running out of time on our potions, so I think it is time to take our leave. Now, that could be all that we would do with this ocean monument. Getting the sponges themselves are extremely helpful, but like I said, this is one of my favorite blocks. I like it a lot. I also really like the sea lanterns. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert this into a Guardian farm. And again, there's many ways to do this. There's a couple of different designs. Cubfan on Hermitcraft originally did one using a metric ton of fence gates. And I built that once in a different single player world, and it took me days, literal days. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of the mechanic of soul sand and nether portals. We're going to float all these Elder Guardians up and push them into the nether. Because of that, because we're going to get them out of here as quickly as possible, we're going to cause the mob cap to continuously refresh. And much like our other farms, we're going to have ourselves an AFK platform up in the sky so that we only load the top of this ocean monument, which gives us the mob cap only in this section. And because we're going to be clearing out the Guardians as quickly as possible using another portal, we're going to be able to get a ton. This should be a pretty tremendously efficient farm where we're going to get many chests. There's a couple of difficult things that we need to keep in mind. One, we need to set up a portal so that we can push everything through the nether, and another portal so that we can safely get to our storage system. Because while I don't mind flying around, it will definitely be easier if we can do those two things and jump back into the overworld here if we need to. The second thing is that we're going to have to place a lot of soul sand. So in order to do that, we're going to need a lot of soul sand. So let's go do that. One interesting thing to note is if you notice with the sponges we just got, they're called wet sponges. Once the water is absorbed into them, they become wet and they can only be used once. However, you can dry them. If you wanted to, you could run it through a super smelter. Or if you're lazy like me, you can place them in the nether. Because if you put them in the nether, they dry instantly. So once we go through and place all our sponges here, we can just come with a hoe and get them all up. This is a little bit faster, even than our super smelter. Pro tip. So our farm here is basically going to involve clearing out this top part and then building a couple of portals that we can use bubble columns to push Guardians into. And this, like all of our farms, is best accomplished through a time lapse. So let's take our super speed potion and get right into it. All right, now we're on our spectator account, and I'll walk you through exactly how this is going to work. Up here, we have the nether portal, and the nether portals of the farm itself end here. They both combine into this one. And then what will happen is the Guardians will come through, and they will fall down, taking some fall damage, but not enough to kill them, where they will then bounce around a bit on these Soulfire campfires. And the reason why we're doing this is because I want to distribute them throughout all of the hoppers. If we don't do this, we run the risk of overloading a hopper, because if you look at it, realistically, the Guardians will come, and they will only come and fall on 4 blocks, depending on if they exit the front or the back. And 4 hoppers is not enough to keep up with this farm. And let me show you exactly what we've done in order to counter that. First off, we have 20 different hoppers here and 20 different Soulfire campfires. As the Guardians come down, they'll bounce around. and they will try and go through, and once they die, because they can't get out, they're completely contained within this glass box, they will die randomly on one of these hoppers. It'll be a bit more towards the outside because they can't go any further, but that's just, like, that's math I'm not going to get into and don't really understand, quite frankly. But we've created a double layer of hoppers here. And what happens, if you remember, is hoppers will pull down before they pull across. So because of that, anything that comes in here will go down to the second layer. And if the second layer already has something and it's moving, it'll stay in the first layer and go across here. Once it gets here, we have another chance for it to go down before it goes across. And if it can't, it will just get into this first chest. If it can, it will go as far down as it can before being put in this chest itself. And that's basically the way that we're doing the collection system here. The rest of this is largely just making it look pretty. And it's not done yet. There's definitely some more work that I want to do here, including fixing this wrong row of chests, which is really bothering me as I look at it. But this episode's taken a while, and I definitely want to get it out, so I think we'll do that off camera after we release the episode itself. So I let this run for about 3 or 4 hours. Let's just call it 3.5. And taking out all of the materials that were used in order to make this area here. So a lot of Prismarine bricks and some Prismarine, I don't remember what it is, the equivalent of the cobblestone. Hello, blanking brain. But all of those materials, all of these materials, including this ton of sea lanterns, which we will need a bunch of for our project, but these are expensive, and all of this through every single chest. This farm produces quite a lot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep the spectator account here and aim at the portal so you can see what happens. And I'm going to tab over to OverHugs, who is sitting next to the portal that is on the nether roof, which connects to the AFK location, and hop through, and you can see this farm activate. So let's bounce through here and wait 1 second while the farm primes and warms up. And you should begin seeing things come through almost instantly. So let's let this warm up because it will get a little higher as the game fills the mob cap, as well as it starts to establish when, look at that's just a sight to behold. So I'll walk through exactly what's going on when we go to the other side of the farm. But you can see there's a decent amount of guardians here. And they're all continuing to hop around so that they die in different areas. You can see they're dying across all of the hoppers here. And when we go down to actually take a look at what's going on, we can see that there are times when this is overwhelming a hopper. So remember that hoppers are 9,000 items per hour, 2.5 items per second move through a hopper. So when we see items start to build up, especially on these corners like we did originally, when it's like a couple of items in here, that means this farm in this row alone is generating more items than that. If we go down to one of the chests that is not completely full, as far down as we can go, you can see that this is basically just going to be continuously getting items as the guardians die. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty efficient farm. And now, through the magic of a spectator account, we're going to teleport to where OverHugs is, and I'll show you the other half of the farm. All right, so here we are. OverHugs has evidently made a piglin friend, and I'm guessing that they're having lovely conversations about bacon. So this is the other half of the farm as we've completely built it. And as I come down here, you can see there are guardians that are spawning outside of our area. So I'll walk through quickly how this works and why that doesn't really matter. So we have 2 portals here that are leading to the single portal that's in the nether. And I can already hear some of you asking, Hugs, why only 2? Why don't you have 4 and extend the area? Why don't you make it broader so that it catches this whole area here? Well, first of all, these are 21 blocks wide, which is the maximum width of a nether portal. You cannot make it any wider. It will not light. They can be 21 by 21. We don't need to go any higher or lower because with the bubble column shooting things up to the top almost instantly, and then these water streams catching anything that comes to the top and pushing it in the portal, this is already about as efficient as it can be. And the reason that we're not going any further out is because if you look the way that we are with our AFK platform, almost nothing spawns here. Our sphere ends right about here where we are right now. So you can see the guardians are despawning as they go down. What happens with guardian behavior is when they spawn, if there's nothing for them to do, they will naturally sink. If they see a squid or something that they're going to attack, like you can see some of them over there, they'll actively swim over and they'll laser to death. But once they stop their lasering adventures, they will return to where they were and they will just fall. And because of that, they rapidly will go out of the despawn area, and you could just see them. As soon as they hit about here, which is the radius of our despawn sphere, they'll just vanish. And then new ones will be generated in the mob cap, and there's a chance of them to be in that section. We had to make a slight change over here at this side of the temple because guardians were getting caught on the roof here. They were just basically sitting here indefinitely and not despawning. So I carved out this area to give them a place to fall down. And I might do that here too. I've seen some guardians spawn in here and stay there basically indefinitely. That's not a problem on this side because of the way the bubble column is. But I think we may fix this side so that it's done exactly the same way. It's just a little bit more efficient and it kind of bothers me. So that's basically the way that this works, and it's a very efficient farm for the amount of time that we spent on it. Realistically, I think this farm probably took maybe 4 hours to construct in total, whereas when I've done the previous one with fence gates and clearing out the area, that took me days, literal days. I'm never doing that again. One of the things that we do need to do beyond this right now is I want to make this look nicer. So I think what we're going to do is we'll have a large stylized guardian that this farm will be enclosed in for 2 reasons. 1, because it will look cool, and never underestimate the power of cool. And 2, guardian farms are more efficient when they have a roof over them. I don't exactly know why, because that seems to be a contrary to the way that guardians spawn. One, as you've noticed, nothing can spawn in temples except for guardians and then passive mobs like squid or dolphins or something like that. So the mob cap itself will almost always be guardians, and we won't be doing anything beyond that. And guardians can only spawn in water to begin with, so there's no point in having any blocks above the water. So I guess what I'll do is I will figure out exactly why that's the case, and I'll throw it up on a note on the screen now. Cool. We both learned something today. So with that, I think we're going to call it an episode today. Once again, I wanted to thank you for choosing to spend your time on the adventure with me. I am OverHugs, and this has been Building Bread. As a reminder, I donate the profits I make out of this to local food banks. So if you've enjoyed or otherwise gotten something valuable out of today, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, or tell a friend. Together, we can help people that are in need. I hope you have the most wonderful of days, and I'll see you soon.